One of the common challenges companies face is building a comprehensive and auditable EUC inventory that stands up to regulatory scrutiny. When using manual efforts, being confident you've identified each and every EUC in your organization is nearly impossible. Not to mention, those processes are largely ineffective and a huge time drain on your end users, meaning they'll stay less engaged and you'll remain in the dark. In today's demo, we'll show you how to identify, assess, and inventory your EUC population using Apparity's automated discovery and registration modules. From scan setup and file analysis through to registration and inventory management, Apparity utilizes an intuitive and simple interface to ensure users remain engaged and compliance teams have the full visibility they need. Once deployed, you'll have a single pane of glass into your inventory, giving you confidence you've identified each and every EUC while keeping your end users happy and focused on their day-to-day. In the following demo, you'll come away with a strong understanding of how to kick off scans, analyze scan results, and register your critical files into the inventory. We'll start by looking at the discovery module, which scans your company network drives for user-specified types like spreadsheets, databases, R, and Python scripts. Given the heavy usage of spreadsheets in most organizations, we'll focus on analyzing scan results for those files first, and then discuss how Apparity automatically assesses their complexity. We'll close by shifting to the registration module, and we'll learn how to centrally manage your inventory while ensuring the business remains responsible for registering and maintaining their high-risk EUCs. Let's get started. All right, so as we shift over here to our discovery module, we're going to start off by looking at the discovery scan dashboard. Now, the main benefits you'll get here are going to be twofold. First, you'll be able to see details regarding your prior scans, things like when they were set up, the different file types that were scanned. We'll also be able to kick off scans from this interface as well. So as you see here, we have three tabs. The first on here on the left is going to be scans that are currently running. In the middle, we have upcoming scans, and on the right, we have our completed scans. As we drill into some of these scans, we're going to look at one called Christina's scan, one of our colleagues here at Apparity. And we see some details regarding this one, including the date it started, the time it started, and the scan type, meaning this is a continuous scan that is recurring monthly. We also see, obviously, this has been completed, and it took about 2 minutes to run. Now, when we look below here, we'll also be able to see the locations that were scanned, number of different directories within that location, the different file types that were scanned. So here we have 8 XLSM files and 4 XLSX files, and the scan status of each of those. If we jump here into the scan settings, what's really beneficial is that we can also see kind of the back-end details of the scan. And this is very beneficial for some of our IT administrators. So we see here that we're looking at a shared drive, and we utilize the Christina Hummel service account for this scan location. Now we're going to go ahead and create a new scan using some of this information. So I'll go ahead and jump in and do that now, and we'll delve into this a little bit further. So to start a new scan, you simply click the button here at the top right, and we'll give our scan a name. We go to the scan settings, you see that Apparity is easily kind of walking the user through how to set up their scans. And one of the nice usability factors here is that we're able to copy scan settings from a previous scan. So if we wanted to actually take some of those scan settings from Christina's scan earlier, we'll be able to automatically populate those so users don't have to enter in the same information they've done before if they're scanning similar folders. We see that we're able to scan multiple location types, including shared drives as well as shared points. When we come here, we also need to specify a service account to be able to grant us access to that location that we're going to scan. One of the other cool usability factors is to be able to specify exception patterns. So in this instance, we actually don't want to scan anything that's in a temporary folder or a temp location. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our pattern, which means that we're going to be able to take away all those results. Now, what this helps you do is not have to waste your time scanning and then reviewing files that are stored in temp locations or folders that you really don't want to look at. Another time saver is being able to click the Verify Location Configuration, which will ensure that you have all the right accesses set up, so you don't go ahead, finish your scan, start trying to scan your files, and find out that there's some IT or technical error. On the bottom, you'll also now note that we can further filter out which files we're scanning by scanning files only within a certain time frame. So in our instance, we're scanning files that were modified within the past 6 months. What this also allows us to do is not look back. Many shared drives across clients are oftentimes kind of inundated with files that have been there for decades, many years. And so what we're going to do here is go ahead and take out those by only scanning files that are modified in the past 6 months. Now, we can also specify which file types we want to look at. And so today, what we only want to look at is our Excel files, but we do note that we can look at Access databases as well as R and Python scripts and other file types are configurable to add to this list. As we set this scan up, what this has really started helping us to do is pre-filtering out a lot of the results. So instead of, again, us scanning the past decade's worth of data, we can now scan only files that are modified within a certain time frame and certain file types to help us bring that population down to the files that we know are going to be in scope. As we move to the scan schedule, we have a couple options. So we can schedule a one-time scan or incremental scans. And many times users, compliance teams want to be able to stay on top of their files that are being newly created. So to that end, we're actually going to go ahead and set this up to be a weekly scan that happens Sundays bright and early at 6 a.m. Now this means that we'll do one scan now, and then every Sunday there weekly on forward, we'll be able to have that scan run again, and it'll pick up net new files as well as files that were modified, but it won't create any duplicates within the inventory of scanned files that we pull back. I'm going to go ahead and hit finalize, and you can see now that this scan, our Apparity demo scan here, has been added to this running scan list, and we'll be able to get live updates on this file as we stay here. We've already had our first 2 files scanned as we're talking. Now, this is fantastic context, and this is really great information for us to have. I think one of the cool factors of this is being able to then go a little bit further and look into these files that we're actually scanning. So when we set up these scans, what Apparity is doing is going into the share drive location, finding information about all those different file types that we've set up, pulling back that information and putting into an easy to use dashboard. And when we move over to that dashboard here, we'll see that we're now within the Apparity Inventory Management System console. So now that our scan is completed, we can go ahead and take a look at some of our results. So still remaining within the same browser in that single pane of glass, we jump over and look at our Apparity Inventory Management System. When we get to the inventory listing, you'll see that we start off by looking at our managed and registered inventory. Now, these are the files that we've already added to the inventory, and these are our known EUCs. And we'll get to these in just a minute. What we want to start off by doing is looking at our unregistered files. So these are the files that we've gone ahead and scanned. We've pulled back key information against, and we've now added them to the unregistered section for further assessment. Within our unregistered section, one of the key benefits that you'll see is that as we've scanned locations, we've pulled back all Excel files, and we've gone ahead and grouped them for you for ease of review. So you see here our balance sheet input files are grouped together based on similar file names. We also group these files together based on similar worksheet structure. So files with either the same name or files with a similar structure are going to be grouped together. And this is very, very helpful when you're looking at hundreds of thousands of files in an environment, and we can group all those files together that are similar copies of one another. As we scroll down, you'll also see that we have files that are rated as low, medium, or high based on their structural complexity. Structural complexity is a way of being able to allow you as compliance teams, as well as your end users, to filter through your scan results to target your attention to those files that are the highest risk in your environment. Structural complexity is based on an entirely configurable algorithm, so it can change from company to company, and it's based on the results you see here as we scroll to the right. During Apparity's discovery scans, we look at properties like last modified at, last modified by, as well as key structural information like the file size, whether it contains emails, links, macros, and various workbook formula properties. And those workbook formula properties are things like the total number of formulas, number of formulas with nested ifs, external links, and then average formula length. These are all very strong indicators of the complexity of the file. And the higher complexity a file is, in all likelihood, the higher risk that it brings to your organization, and the higher likelihood it is to be an EUC. Now here we're able to start looking at some of our high-risk files, and so as we scroll down, we're going to try to identify some files that are EUCs. So from this interface, we can also start filtering our view to be able to target our attention to the most at-risk files in our organization, make sure those are assessed first. So we'll start off by looking at our structural complexity, and we're only going to look at the files that are medium and high risk, and we'll go ahead and filter there. We see that we have two versions of a one high risk file here at the top, and these are really where we want to focus our attention for now. When we go here to the view edit details, we're brought to the structural details screen again, which gives us a bit simpler interface to be able to look at some of the things that were captured as part of the discovery process. When we go to registration details, we can see this file has not yet been assessed and it's not yet been added to our inventory. So we're going to go ahead and click here to register the file. The registration form is a simple, easy-to-use questionnaire that allows compliance teams and end users alike to be able to capture relevant information about the file. In addition to the structural complexity information that we've gathered as part of the discovery process, here we can also gather the business impact that this file has to the organization and understand the processes it supports. This helps us get a picture of the overall risk this file brings to our organizations. So understanding whether this supports any relevant financial reporting processes, SOX processes, Solvency II, understanding the overall criticality the file has in the organization, as well as certain business processes maybe used in the actuarial department. So as we complete our registration, we said in under a minute, end users can come in, assess their file, and be able to add it to the EUC inventory. From within the same pane, we can now move back and see that when we go to our managed and registered population, you can see that this file has already been added to our inventory. This enables compliance teams to have a centralized view of their inventory, while also dispersing the responsibility to their end users for filling this information out. As compliance teams, we can also now start filtering and be able to have key insights and views into our overall EUC population, understanding what business processes they support, being able to filter and group by department, business process, and other information we've gathered as part of the registration process. It is important to note that each registration form is configurable. So what may work for one company may be different for another. So the different fields and information you collect can vary and can change easily within the solution as part of the simple configuration from Apparity. Here, now that we have our full managed and registered population, we have the key insights, and we can now focus on understanding and mitigating the risk that these EUCs bring to the environment. We've now, in the matter of 5 minutes, been able to kick off scans, assessed our files in the unregistered inventory, registered a file, and helping start build out our EUC inventory. And with that, thank you for your time, and we hope you've learned a lot about the Apparity discovery and registration modules.